Hello guys and welcome back to another sad love life storytime video. So a little recap before we begin, just in case any of you are interested in watching part 1 and 2. So basically, part 1 included my probably earliest online relationships I've been in, featuring Free Realms, Spiral Knights and Maplestory. Kinda? Part 2 was a cut down to a 1 hour long rant story time I did while talking to Sienna. I mostly covered some quote unquote relationships there from my nostalgia years, even though I can't really call any of those actual romantic like relationships. But I intentionally only brushed over one specific guy as I only remember us role playing on a daily basis and him then quote unquote cheating on me with my consent. Yeah, so we're not gonna talk about this today. Just go watch part 2 in its entirety if you're bored or want some sort of talking video in the background while doing something else. But today I shall talk about only two relationships in particular. Or, well, one is an actual online relationship and the other is more like a perverted clingy troll or something. So technically he isn't part of my online love life either, just like the guys I talked about in part 2. But I wanted to make a video on this for months now, and I wanted to rant on what even happened there since some on Discord were curious as well. I still can't tell if he was trolling past a certain point or if he was actually serious. Okay, enough of the general stuff. Let's get to the fun stuff. So, since I've already started talking about the pervert, I shall tell you about him first and save the best for last. Despite the fact that he deleted his account, or rather accounts, I shall give him another name that's somewhat similar to the first name he used to talk to me. Truck. So context. About a year ago I intentionally joined a Minecraft dating server. Not to find a date or an NSFW RP partner like almost everyone else there, but to try out their creative and SMP worlds. Like, their server tags on the server list promised a creative world and an SMP with plot claiming, and I tend to only ever join servers with creative mode and or free access to claiming. But I didn't know it was an actual dating server until I added the IP to my list and I saw the server list description. Now, at this point I didn't really feel like joining after seeing what I saw. However, I then just decided to join and at least quickly go find their creative server and just ignore the more or less rather lewd messages in the chat. Turns out you have to have a rank to have access to the creative world. Yeah, so that was a bummer. But at least I had access to the survival world. Not sure what time it was, but only like 3 or 4 other players were on at that time, so naturally the chat was mostly quiet. And throughout the time I was mining, I constantly switched between Minecraft and YouTube, so I seemed kind of AFK. Then I looked back at the game and saw that someone messaged me in the chat. It was none other than Truck. Oddly enough, his username was a German word including a pig. Our first message exchange was basically just saying hi before he asked me if he could teleport to me. Throughout our talk, he never tried to kill me once, which was a good sign. And he didn't try any flirting like the others at first, which was even better. Please note, at first. Out of boredom, he wanted to play some Truth or Dare. I thought it was weird, but I guess it was better than him just stalking me while I mined. So I agreed and we took turns. The first questions were pretty simple, like, are you actually a girl? Where are you from? How old are you? And so on and so forth. But then he asked me about the size of my personality. And I don't mean my mental personality, I mean my personality. Female personality. I didn't really mind answering as I thought he was joking, so I told him about this insider I got with my best friends. About the size of my personality, since you know it's obviously all just jokes. They're not actually accurate or anything and just serve as funny comparison between just the three of us. And then he started asking about if I had a Smex life and if I still got my precious V-card. Okay, listen, if you ever had a list of what I asked him and a list of what he asked me, you'd come to the solid conclusion that he wasn't trying to keep up a civil and normal friendly conversation. Which was what I was trying to aim for. I only asked the most general questions ever and even pointed this out to him by asking why he's only picking those more so smexual and rather private questions. He just said that he's bad at asking questions and those are just the questions that come to mind first. My mind, on the other hand, just slammed another red flag button at his response, already knowing where this was going. Like, you can't tell me that you don't have any questions on your mind regarding what I actually like to do, what my favorite color is, if I have any animals at home. Spoiler alert, I was actually the one asking him about what favorite color he had and what kind of hobbies he had. But just, I'm probably even worse at basic conversations than you, dude, but at least I restrained myself from asking and doing stuff I'm not entirely sure the other person is comfortable with. I'm not even sure about this anymore, but I do recall him asking something similar to, are we a thing now or can we be a couple? Because his Minecraft character kissed mine with this /kiss command from the server, which was actually just used for roleplay purposes. Now, I really wouldn't have minded a Minecraft relationship, which is basically kept within the bounds of roleplay within Minecraft. But then we added each other on Discord since I thought it'd be nice to get to know him more, since, you know, maybe something further than in-game can be worked out, or we can stay friends even outside of Minecraft. And apparently he didn't understand me when I said that a relationship on Discord is going a bit far, since I only added him to be friends till we know each other more, you know? Keep in mind that those were just the first 2 hours of us talking. Minecraft relationship? Sure, why not? It's literally just having a Minecraft buddy to share stuff with some lovey-dovey roleplay here and there. And I knew it would end the same way as with any of my previous relationships from before 2014, which all crumbled because neither me nor my partners held up contact with one another, and we just lost touch since neither of us played the same games anymore. But I see Discord, something that isn't exactly connected to any game's world in particular, as an actual to be taken at least a bit more seriously relationship. And not just like some roleplay relationship, since Discord gives you a direct access to messaging your potential partner. And please don't take this out of context. I don't mean that an in-game relationship can't be as serious as a DM one, nor does this mean that I'm open for multiple relationships on multiple games. So instead of talking about what exactly went down with each and every day, I'll just give a quick summary. TLDR, this guy kept on trying to get me to roleplay with him, even though I told him I'm not into roleplaying several times actually. He tried using this tactic on me of making it start as simple and cute relationship roleplay with cuddles, then turning it into ERP, which is basically the equivalent of a lemon RP for any fanfic readers of mine, and I'm not into that kind of RP. Or usually any RP in general. And because of this, I usually brushed off his requests to cuddle with me and stuff like that, because just no. Since I refused to roleplay with him, Truck would ask if I did any ERPs with friends, since I semi-lied to him that I only RP with close friends. I told him I didn't roleplay anything NSFW related, at least twice, and told him the only NSFW related thing I do occasionally is write lemons, aka smutty and smexy fanfics between two characters I really enjoy shipping. And I only ever write those if I know the creators are fine with this or just don't care. Hence why it's mainly OCs from Ziana and myself being shipped, since we both tend to ship those characters as well. Anyway, getting a little off topic here. By the way, I can't even count how many times he asked if I was still single and if I had a boyfriend and stuff like that. And whenever I told him I only ever RP cuddled with my in-game dad from a whole nother game, since we have a basically solid father-daughter relationship, as well as sometimes with my best friend who is actually kinda like a mom to me, Truck would go on small rants about how I probably kissed them too. Like, what? You're the one constantly wanting to cuddle ERP and quote-unquote rub foot. If you're wondering why I didn't just block him right then and there, I was so close to, I really was, and I was really tempted to do so, but then I thought, wait, this could make a great YouTube video. So I did keep him unblocked, but I didn't exactly reply to most of what he said either. And whenever I did, I tried to keep it as minimalistic and straightforward to the point as possible. Sometimes I did try to see if he had changed at least a little bit, so I tried responding with a little bit more than just some words per message. However, that didn't exactly turn out as good as I had hoped, and he eventually stopped messaging me after a while, and apparently most of his accounts are now deactivated. Not sure if this was his own doing, since it does seem kind of weird that he befriended me on multiple accounts, like 2 days in a row. But I hope he'll never message me again, because otherwise you can expect another video from me. Now on to the guy who I can confirmedly say was my online boyfriend for about 2 weeks. Let's call him Ralsei, since that was his player model when we first met. So I met Ralsei on the old Gmod Undertale RP server of the Republic. He was a helper on the server and I was an actually pretty active member at the time. I actually met him while he was watching over Snowden. I'm not sure who exactly spoke up first, since we were both kind of talking to ourselves and each other at the same time, commenting on some stuff happening on the map, but we just had an overall pleasant conversation. He later on told me about how he was in an online relationship with someone who I shall call Asriel for the same reason as Ralsei. Asriel didn't play any part at first, as these two were a happy little couple and I actually shipped them. Some friends and I were actually allowed to watch them live RP in Waterfall, and it was cute. All they asked from us was that we'd be quiet. Which we were. Mostly. I can't deny that I spray painted some junk onto the walls with some others and forgot about the loud spray sound. Fun times. But for the first week of us knowing each other, I only ever talked to him here and there whenever we crossed paths. But then we started to hang out more some days later. I also ran into some trouble with at least 2 players who were annoying me with their hunting RP. They actually made me flee when they tried to kill me, and actually killed me twice, so I had to put no clip on a couch and constantly switch between maps. It took some time for Ralsei to return from being AFK for at least 1.5 hours, but once he returned I told him about what happened. Sadly he wasn't able to do anything due to technical issues in the log when it came to health, as well as him only having helper rank, and them targeting me outside their job's 5-minute RDM timeout not being a ban reason. However, Ralsei, that sweet little cinnamon bun, told me that he'd stick by me and protect me in case those 2 came back or anyone else would target RDM me specifically, since there was still a chance that someone would still hunt me down. Honestly, this was cute. Like, oh my god, I've never had someone this nice play bodyguard in such a way for me. Even when I was just a tiny little bit spooked. And we weren't even in a relationship back then. Sometime later, Ralsei and I got into a voice call because he wanted to tell me something he didn't want to talk about in the game, as anyone in the voice chat range as well as chat range could listen in on us. He was mostly concerned about the other admins because they could even listen in without actually having their characters nearby. So he called me on my phone in private over Discord. He told me about how his father found out about his online relationship with Asriel and they had to break up due to private reasons I can't not tell you. But Ralsei was really sad, so I tried comforting as best as I could. And since I suck at it, I mostly just talked to him so he wouldn't feel alone. This resulted in us spending more time together. Now on to the confession. He sent me a sweet little confession about how he loved me and how he had feelings for me even during the time he dated Asriel. There's actually one specific song that always reminds me of that moment due to how he started his confession and just the fact that I was listening to that song while he sent me the message. And they started out with basically the same words. Overall, it was really cute, and to be honest, I've never met anyone as kind and open with his emotions as him online. I've met cool, generous, funny people and some more, but I've never interacted with someone so respectful, open and kind online. Like, I trusted him enough to already exchange phone numbers and we gave some information to each other about ourselves, like some sort of therapy. Which I thought was really nice because I'm probably the last person you'd want to ask about their private life, because I rarely ever talk about anything more private than basic information. However, he also proved to be quite the protective boyfriend. When one guy told another one that he wants to kill me, which apparently was supposed to be a joke, his words came across as a threat, and Ralsei, who was my boyfriend at that time, was informed by another Gmod friend of mine who was also a staff member and whom I'm going to call Frisk in this video. I won't go into details for this either, but Ralsei ended up asking me questions about if I knew someone who was after me or if someone tried killing me recently. I honestly told him that no, I didn't think anyone was after me because the active players all knew me well enough and liked me enough to not go after me. Well, most of them, there was like, yeah, there's one player who I still don't like who's still apparently on the server. But I believe for about 2 or 3 hours afterwards, Ralsei and Frisk went out on a hunt to find out who sent this threatening message by going around the maps, asking people or rather interrogating them, just to figure out who wanted to kill me. I'm telling you, that was like the most sweetest thing I've ever seen anyone do for me in terms of protection. In the end, I was teleported to an underground base on the map, where basically all staff members that were online were present, as well as me, my little in-game sister, and the supposed suspect who was interrogated by my boyfriend. Turns out the culprit was my in-game brother.
Is that a plot twist?
The breakup was pretty much anticipated. I knew from the start that we wouldn't last long because of him being in the years of him finding himself, as well as me being mainly just a rebound. I mean, we became a thing like 1 week after him and Asriel broke up, so I didn't get my hopes up. Instead, I tried to be there for him even though I knew it wouldn't last, just to get his mind off some bad things that happened. I didn't tell him about my doubts in this relationship because I didn't want to worry him. He even asked me if I'd say yes if he ever proposed to me years later, and even told me about how he had a feeling that he dreamt of us together. However, whenever my partner thinks about our future already, I knew we'll never meet up and get married. My ex from 2014 and I promised to meet when we both turned 18. Guess how that one turned out? So Ralsei and I broke up after 2 weeks because he received a message from someone who he had feelings for, but he wasn't sure about what to do because of us being a couple. So I did the right thing and told him that it's fine to go for another person. And I just supported him and mentally hoped that he would find someone better than me, because honestly, I'm not relationship material. Believe me when I say this. I just lack the emotional interest and seriousness. Overall, he was and still is a great guy to talk to. We stayed friends and he told me how some months ago he became happier and got involved in a lovely relationship with someone else. And while I never gave Truck any information about my channel, for obvious reasons, which I still don't understand how he didn't find my channel, because I kind of used the tagline for like hashtag shoot a tape and stuff on Discord, and he just kept on asking what that was instead of actually googling it. I did actually tell Ralsie about the channel. So Ralsie, if you're watching this video, love ya man. But I hope you enjoyed this mess of a part 3. Let's see if there's gonna be a part 4, hopefully not. But I'm probably gonna end up making a separate video on some stuff that happened anyway. Like, there's actually some stuff I left out about Ralsei because of the length of this video already. Maybe I'll add it to a Gmod story time thing. There's really just so much to talk about on Gmod, I don't know why. Like, I still remember a lot of it. And it's just awful. Well, I'm Emelin Striker, aka the Alpha Shoe, and remember, may the shoe be with you.